I'm Catherine Dow. It's Thursday, July 17th. Today, monitoring missteps.
Hey, you're in violation. You're not where you're supposed to be, and you better go home.
How new high-tech ankle monitors will keep track of offenders and keep victims informed. Also today, water worries.
This is also a health risk.
The Winnipeg River showing extremely high levels of a dangerous bacteria. Plus, in a single bound, how Superman came to the rescue for a local animal shelter. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Marilee is away. It allows the government to approve big industrial projects like mines and pipelines by sidestepping existing laws. It's designed to grow the economy, but Manitoba First Nations leaders say Bill C-5 will trump their rights. They traveled to Quebec today to send their message in person to Mark Carney. But is the Prime Minister listening? CTV's Abigail Bimin reports from Ottawa.
The conversations today are about hearing from you as participants.
And Prime Minister Mark Carney had much to listen to, hosting a First Nations major project summit with leaders who came from right across the country.
He's got to come up with some commitments, firm commitments.
Many are concerned about C-5, the Building Canada Act legislation that allows Cabinet to quickly grant federal approvals.
What does that consultation look like? What is consent? And also rights of refusal if First Nations are not wanting to participate in major projects within their territories.
All the resources of Canada belongs to the First Nation people, and they never ask us for any input.
I don't think we've gotten to a place where you're going to see any agreement come out of this.
The Prime Minister was more optimistic, believing consensus is possible.
This is the first federal legislation to put Indigenous economic growth at its core.
Outside the closed-door summit, emotions ran high.
This is what we call our native land.
These protesters came from Northern Ontario, concerned about the Ring of Fire development.
You cannot just disrespect our land like that. And you cannot just take it for your own because of your stupid money. These bills, they're overriding our laws. They're not asking us our permission.
While, of course, not everyone is opposed to major projects if they're done properly.
As First Nations, we also need to start moving forward a little bit with projects like this so that we can advance our people a little bit more.
This is the first meeting the Prime Minister holds with Indigenous leaders this summer. The next is with Inuit leaders. Meanwhile, the Grand Chief of the Assembly of First Nations is calling for another summit like this one next year. Abigail Bimin, CTV News, Gatineau, Quebec.
The province is expanding its electronic ankle monitoring program used to keep tabs on people out on bail.
The program allows police to take immediate action when someone isn't following their release terms.
With all 100 ankle bracelets in use, the province plans to add up to 100 more at a cost of $1.2 million. The devices use GPS to allow law enforcement to track a person's location in real time. Alerts are issued if the person enters an area prohibited under their bail conditions or restrictions. There are also plans to introduce curfew monitoring software that uses video conferencing and biometric identification for those that do not require a traditional bracelet.
They can actually speak directly to the offender to say, hey, you're in violation, you're not where you're supposed to be, and you better go home, right? And so the ability to have that communication, that intervention before that person commits another offense is really valuable.
The program is available in Winnipeg, Brandon, Portage la Prairie, Steinbach, and other cities, and will be expanding to the north. Provincial officials say wildfire activity is picking up again following days of cooler weather and rain. And another northern community is now evacuating. 2 planes will be transporting people out of Island Lake and Stevenson Island today and tomorrow. Officials say 10 people will be leaving while 5 are staying behind to help protect important infrastructure like the airport and water treatment plant. They're located directly south of Garden Hill First Nation, which was evacuated evacuated last week. There are now close to 13,000 people out of their homes due to wildfires. And officials addressed some dramatic videos circulating online showing a wall of flames near the community of Split Lake. Kristen Hayward with Manitoba Wildfire Service says they decided to let that fire burn during favorable conditions rather than risk embers blowing into the community at a later time and starting new fires.
So we continue to have staff, crews in the community with fire suppression equipment so that if there is any spot fires that come over from that area, they're able to address them immediately. They have been continuing to patrol for hotspots in the community for some time just to make sure that nothing can flare up and get away on us.
Hayward says at the moment there are no new areas of concern. However, some electricity infrastructure has been damaged in the evacuated community of Lynn Lake. There are now 118 active wildfires in Manitoba, 5 fewer than Wednesday. A warning from police about a convicted sex predator who was released from prison today. 43-year-old Glenn Gregory Tyler Posniak has spent the last decade at Stony Mountain Institution. In 2015, he was convicted of sex crimes, assaults, and making child pornography. He's now out of prison and is expected to live in Winnipeg. The Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit says Posniak is a high risk to reoffend in a sexually violent way against boys and male teens. If you have information about Posniak, you're asked to call the Manitoba Integrated High-Risk Sex Offender Unit, Winnipeg Police, your local RCMP detachment, or Crime Stoppers. Property owners in Victoria Beach will have the chance tonight to learn more about a hefty property tax increase heading their way. According to Mayor Penny McMorris, most residents are facing a steep 50% increase due to the removal of the education tax rebate and a jump in recent property assessments. In an email, she tells CTV News not all seasonal property owners will be able to absorb the tax increase. The municipality is holding a public meeting tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. at Senior Scene. Representatives from the province and Lord Selkirk School Division were invited to attend. A vacant and derelict hotel in South Point Douglas is up for sale. The Mount Royal Hotel sits empty today on Higgins Avenue near Main. It closed in 2022 after the provincial government found the building was a health hazard. The hotel has a storied history since it first opened in 1904. The Manitoba Historical Society says it was a popular meeting spot for the city's lesbian community during the 1950s and 60s. The society labels the 38-room hotel a historic site. MLS Winnipeg lists it for more than $1.1 million. The listing says the hotel has the potential to be converted into an affordable living center or a rooming house. A big bust for the Winnipeg Police Guns and Gangs Unit. An investigation that began in May has resulted in 6 arrests in 4 locations. And while executing search warrants, police uncovered a stash of weapons and drugs, including a loaded revolver and ammunition. The drugs they found include cocaine, meth, ecstasy, and fentanyl, with a total estimated street value of more than $70,000. Police also found stolen property, cash, and drug-making equipment. The 6 people arrested now face a slew of charges, including drug trafficking and possessing a firearm. A face familiar to Winnipeg football fans will be back behind the microphone tonight. Former Blue Bomber and Hall of Famer Milt Stegall rejoins the TSN panel for tonight's broadcast of the CFL game between Toronto and Montreal. He hasn't been on air since the sudden death of his son in June. In a social media post, Stegall says he'll be on location in Winnipeg this Friday when the Bombers host the Stampeders. In the post, Stegall says it's what his son would have wanted him to do. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady joins us now with the first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And how is Mother Nature going to be treating those Bomber fans, Colleen?
Very well. Earlier this week, the forecast for Friday night was a little iffy, but as the days have progressed, getting closer to the big game, the forecast has improved, so that's good. It'll start to warm up again back to where we ought to be for mid-July, and it'll be a little brighter out there too. So I will show you that a little later, but I want to show you this first. As the temperatures are starting to increase, and you mentioned, Catherine, it's been cool in the north. That's starting to change, and so are the concerns regarding air quality. Environment Canada has air quality alerts in effect both in northern Manitoba, the more elevated air quality warning, and also a special air quality statement in effect for eastern Manitoba and for northwestern Ontario. More on that and a look ahead at your forecast as we close in on the weekend. But for now, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, cloudy and 23. It's windy too with those winds from the south-southwest. The pressure is rising and the humidity is 34%. In traffic on this Thursday afternoon, a live look at Portage Avenue, east and westbound in front of Polo Park. Traffic moving well there.
Well, when I looked at it, we realized that the city of Winnipeg doesn't do any water testing.
A local environmental group tests the water in Winnipeg rivers and finds dangerous bacteria in one area. More on the results after the break. Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Get Winnipeg's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A warning tonight about river water quality. A group called Wilderness Committee has found extreme concentrations of dangerous E. coli bacteria in a Winnipeg river.
This is also a health risk, right? Because there's somebody standing around the corner fishing right now, and we know what the water quality test was. They don't know that they shouldn't be touching their hooks or their fishing line.
The samples were taken earlier this month. Tests on the Red and Assiniboine rivers showed E. coli levels within Manitoba's beach guidelines. But that wasn't the case for a sample taken from the Seine River near Happy Land Park in St. Boniface. The lab found E. coli levels there to be more than 8 times the level that the province uses to close down beaches. The organization says Winnipeg needs a citywide water quality monitoring program and a way to warn the public.
We build infrastructure for people to use the river. There's a kayak dock on the Seine River. We have boat launches on the Red River. People go on the Assiniboine River at the Forks all the time. So what does the quality of the water really look like?
The group says it doesn't know what caused the spike in bacteria levels in that area of the river. It's a chance for Manitoba's Black, Indigenous, Filipino, and diverse youth to express themselves and be heard. It's a new reality show called School of Rap, and organizers are hoping more local young people join the journey. The show will give a behind-the-scenes look at the creative process of producing rap and hip-hop. It'll give young people the chance to create and produce their own songs from a concept to reality. And it also gives young artists a safety net where they can create music without fear or judgment.
People express themselves through music, so usually when people rap or create songs, there's usually meanings behind this, and I think that's how hip-hop and rap's basically allowing youth to express themselves, especially these days, right? People are becoming more fond of hip-hop and rap, especially in our generation.
The group plans to release an album with a live concert at the end of the year. If you want to join, look up School of Rap on Instagram. That's school with an SK.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
Do you and your family want to be in a promotional photo shoot? Well, a local museum wants your help. That and more local entertainment news just ahead in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting R&B legends TLC.
And Colleen Brady has your spotlight today.
That's right. Now, Catherine, is your family ready to smile for the camera? Well, the Manitoba Museum wants to hear from you. It's looking for families to take part in a promotional photo shoot next month. Everyone is encouraged to apply, including multi-generational families, those who identify as Indigenous, 2S LGBTQ, and people with disabilities. The shoot should take about 2 hours on August 5th, and the museum says you'll receive an honorarium for your time. You'll have until Tuesday to apply. Just head to manitobamuseum.ca.
The little ones of my family don't take directions so well, so I think we gotta give it a pass. Yeah. Meanwhile, okay, one of the world's leading guitar makers is giving a nod to a Winnipeg musician.
This is very cool. Fender Guitars has created a limited edition Ariel Posen Stratocaster. What a cool sound. Now, you may know Posen from his work with Winnipeg's Brothers Landreth. He's now a solo artist, and Rolling Stone magazine has called him a modern-day guitar hero. A few years ago, Posen developed his own guitar, combining his favorite attributes from 2 Fender classic models. Well, Fender liked what he did and worked with the artist to create this limited edition model.
Limited edition. To go into a guitar store and see this hanging on a wall, I feel like would be a culmination of my entire life and career as a musician. It's just like one of those things you never really dream of experiencing. To have, especially with.
Let me get this right. Ariel Posen has a North American tour slated for the fall. No Winnipeg date, though. Your best bet is on December 11th in Minneapolis.
So much local talent here to celebrate.
Cool.
Speaking of, Winnipeg is officially on the Fringe.
That's right. The annual Winnipeg Fringe Festival is underway after a great party last night at Old Market Square. Nearly 150 acts are expected to put on shows at one of the 25 venues in and around downtown. It includes 92 brand new shows between now through the 27th. The festival's manager says they're seeing a lot of new companies coming to Winnipeg this year.
I'm biased, but I feel like we have one of the best. Our community here is so rich, and we're always ready to see something new or see what's been going on in your mind and see you put it on a show. So whether that's a comedy or a drama, we want to immerse ourselves in your life.
Get more information at winnipegfringe.com.
Always a fun time.
You bet it is.
Thanks for this, Colleen.
You're welcome. Your primetime lineup kicks off at 7 with Transplant, followed by Good Cop, Bad Cop, and E-Talk wraps up the night at 10:30, all right here on CTV. A live look down into a very busy Osborne Village. Traffic moving well there. No stalls or crashes to pass along. 23 and a little windy out there. I'll show you when it's going to warm up. Coming up.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady has your Skywatch evening forecast. Colleen, it felt less smoky today. Yeah. Was that actually the case?
Yeah, it was here in Winnipeg. Winds were just coming from a different direction, and so we didn't have the smoke in the city so much, but it's the cooler temperatures that have kept the worst of that smoke sort of mitigated, if you will, to a certain extent across northern Manitoba. Well, now that things are starting to heat up there, so are the concerns regarding air quality. So Environment Canada has issued an air quality warning for a good swath of northern and central parts of the province. So Environment Canada says that the bad air quality is going to continue well toward the end of the week, if not a little further than that. So that will also reduce visibility at times. Also, still important but not quite as elevated, Environment Canada's special air quality statement. That continues for eastern Manitoba as it has for days after days after days now. Now into northwestern Ontario as well, closer to where fires continue to burn both in northern Ontario and in eastern Manitoba. Now there, Environment Canada says there's an area of high pressure that's essentially sort of locking in that smoke close to those source regions, and they're going to basically continue to do that. That smoke is going to continue basically to just sit there. But if the winds start to shift enough, that could cause a widespread smoke event. So we'll see how that progresses over the next few days. Now, over the night ahead, a little bit of cloud picking up in the south. There is the risk of thunderstorms in the north this evening, but it's a fairly low risk at this point. Overnight, the risk of thunderstorms diminishes. Not much happens otherwise here in the south or east into northwestern Ontario. A more significant band of rain looks like it's just going to nicely stay on the other side of the international border tomorrow morning. That will miss us here. Nice day, actually. It'll be a little bit warmer here in the south, closer to where we ought to be for this time of year in the mid-20s. Now, if you're heading out to the Bomber game, conditions look pretty good. We should see a high in the mid-20s tomorrow, light winds, and then nice conditions for that game out there at Princess Auto Stadium. Aside from that, sky conditions clear, mitigated, of course, by the smoke, taking us overnight into Saturday and the start of the weekend, and it is going to get a little warmer. It's going to feel like July once again after a pretty cool week by July standards this week. 12 is our overnight low tonight, partly cloudy, light winds from the south. 24-hour high tomorrow afternoon, Friday afternoon, mix of sun and cloud, light winds out of the south at 10 kilometers an hour. Friday, the UV index is 7 or high. Long-range forecast takes us into Saturday with sunshine and a nice high of 26 degrees. 26 again on Sunday, but it will be cloudy. We could start to see some rain come through as early as Sunday night, and it looks like there'll be rain across much of the province. Continuing here in Winnipeg on Monday, maybe even a thunderstorm, 23 degrees, and then back up into the mid-20s Tuesday, Wednesday, under a mix of sun and cloud. Let's take a look at our weather photos, shall we? This one takes us out to the Brandon area. Jordan took that photo last night and sent us to us. Thank you for that one. Beautiful prairie shot there. And this photo is from Sandy. No, not from. It's at Sandy Lake from Ray. Ray is out in Sandy Lake. That's in southwestern Manitoba. And he sent us that lovely photo. Send us yours to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. The Winnipeg Humane Society is tapping into some star power to hopefully boost adoptions.
This is the best day of my life.
And that's saying something coming from the Man of Steel. Yes, Superman and Supergirl flew on over to the Humane Society this afternoon, possibly in search of their own crypto. So this comes after the recent Superman movie introduced moviegoers to Superman's trusty canine companion. And while film and pop culture can sometimes lead to a boost in adoptions, the Humane Society says to keep in mind it is still a very big commitment.
Adopting an animal into your home is a lifelong commitment, that there is amount of effort that has to go into caring and maintaining the well-being of any animal you bring into your home, and it should be a careful decision to be made.
So the dog you see here is named Shuffles, and he's actually a therapy dog and therefore not up for adoption. But there's about 10 other dogs at the Humane Society right now waiting for their own heroes to arrive. You know, Crypto actually reminds me of my own dog, behavioral-wise. Not a compliment. I hope Ernest isn't watching, but also very lovable, so I understand why people want to adopt.
He's very cute.
Yes, to Crypto and all the pups watching, remember, we're going to be back here for CTV News at 6, so join us then. Take care. See you soon.